Hey folks, how y'all doing? It's Saturday here in rainy Jersey. So I'm in the factory again, just checking out things, making a quick reel here, and do a little bit of extra exercise. So on one segment I'm going to try on the weekends especially would be good is answering some questions. So one question I got on my contracts from last week was Bethany wrote, how long does the entire process take? Meaning from the contract stage to the, getting the materials, releasing it, doing all that stuff. They said not many publishers talk about it, they thought it would be an interesting question to answer. I do too. I think that would be interesting for some folks. I think people like to keep this stuff a secret, the publishers or what, that there's something magical to it that you guys can't figure out if you really wanted to start a company and do it. Even though I would not suggest starting an anime publishing company at this time, unless you don't have very high expectations and you really just want to kind of make some, maybe, as a hobby or side gig or something like that, you could maybe release maybe a couple titles a year or specialize in some kind of thing. Like I think there is a right now hole in the yaoi market. We get emails every so often about yaoi. There are some videos out there. Maybe someone could be more specialized in that. I do think you could sell a few, but would it be worth the money and time? I don't know. That's something you would have to decide. So back to the original question. As far as this goes, I do think that on this, as far as the whole process, I would say, if I had to average it out, you're looking at about, even in its fastest, and I do mean in its fastest, about a year. I think more often than not, it's going to be 2 years. This is how it kind of works is, yes, there's the research phase. In the old days, the research phase was really very intense in that you would have to go out, I would literally go to stores looking up LDs, looking up stuff. I would see ads. Remember Jungle de Eco? I saw an ad on I think it was like a utility pole out there in Shibuya area, right outside of Animate, when Animate wasn't inside that mall. And it was really like, this show I saw, and I brought it up, and that's why at that time, I needed a Japanese assistant. I still have one, and she could look up the copyrights, look up all that stuff, and then we would try to find the company that represents it. That was even Demon Hunter Yoko, not Yoko, Demon Hunter Kocho. Sorry, I forget some of my titles. That one was the special one, but even with those, you kind of, that was the way you kind of went. The more traditional way was the film markets. You would go to film markets, you would go to Japan, just visit publishers at times, because at that time in the early days, anime wasn't popular enough. They didn't really have much of an international market. There weren't that many international sales. The Japanese point was that it's Japanese, it's a different culture. Why would Americans or, people would like it? But they were, of course, that all changed. So now, as time went on, and the popularity and, the golden age began of the 90s, the 2000s, whichever, you feel. What then happened was that they started to notice, we could, sell international, make some good money. And that just kept going up and up. So what happened was they would have the stuff already ready for you. Meaning you would go to their offices, you could do that kind of stuff, and you could basically find a lot of new stuff. They even had it in the form of it reached the point where you were just getting a flyer. I brought this up during my Savakis interview, where they would give you a flyer that had maybe like one main image, how many episodes, who created it, if it's based on a manga, and it all the way reached the point to, crazy money of 20, 30,000 an episode, 40,000. You were spending so much money that it kind of became the point of, was it worth doing? At that time, it was simply because you had to be on the shelf. So you had to have the most popular title or one of the popular titles, or people like Best Buy and those won't deal with you. So let's say you get past that phase, you acquire the title. The biggest point at that point is, are you going sub or dub? If you're going to go dub, that will slow down your process a lot. You're looking at least about 2 weeks an episode. Maybe they could get it down to a week and a half an episode. They have to adapt the script. They have to translate. They have to get the voice actors together. It's work. So you're looking at, in the old days, it was about a couple weeks per episode, and even your cheapest dubber was going to be about $3K or something per episode. Most of them were at least 5, maybe more. The better the studio you would use. So that was the thing. You had to decide that. As that's all going on, you're hopefully working on your packaging, getting approvals, doing all that kind of stuff. That takes some time. You still want to make it, that will, hopefully they're running at the same time so you can keep those going. But in the end, more than likely, one part would be faster than the other. Then the other thing that came up a lot was the quality of the video we got. Were we happy with it? Not happy with it? Did they have enough? Did they have another source or something like that? As time went on, now we do film transfer, do that. Remember, in the old days, it was just VHS. It wasn't expected a lot. You got an SD tape. Then DVD came. You probably wanted to do a little bit better job on that. Then, you got Blu-ray and even better. So then you're looking at film transfers. And now with 4K, you're even trying even more and more. So the time just gets bigger and bigger in some ways. Then there's the extras. Extras really became a real slowdown too. The extras, you would look at the Japanese DVD, Japanese Blu-ray, whatever it is, and on shows that were already released in Japan, you would have to find those, try to ask for them. Now, a lot of those were not cleared for the US market or outside of Japan, so it was kind of difficult sometimes to get those. You don't want to just throw it on there and take it off of something and kind of put it on there. That could really bite you in the butt later, because then you broke a rule. You would have to recall things. I mean, it was a lot of work. We had that happen to us on 1 or 2 titles. It was not fun. So once you got through that whole process, I would say then you also have to do the solicitation. So now let's say you're ready to go into replication, you're ready to do it. Sometimes we were trying to go so fast that what we did was we would announce before we were really ready to replicate. Most sales guys want to already have the product ready before you even announce it. So let's say you did it the right way and you already announced it and it's ready there for them to ship. Back in the day when home video was big, it would take, they needed at least 3 months of a, window so that they can, take the pre-orders, get everything in, and then you needed to ship, a couple weeks, at least 2-3 weeks, so that the stores had it on the shelves ready or in their back room, ready to put it out on street date. So yeah, it was a big deal. It took a long time. I would say depending on the number of episodes, depending on the title, anywhere from a year to 2 years. There was a lot of stuff that went on in between that could slow you down, speed you up. That's why setting street dates early used to bite media blasters a lot in the butt, because we always were trying to get things out because of cash flow. You always want to get the stuff out faster. But that can work, but a lot of times you're going to hit a lot of hiccups, and every hiccup you hit will slow you down. You're not going to ship on time. Salespeople are upset. The retailer is upset, and there's nothing you can really do. You're trying your best. You have to change street dates, which everybody hates, and all that. So, as a final answer, yes, it was anywhere from a year to 2 years, but it kept changing as the times changed with the different formats, different approval processes, different things. Now, nobody's really there's no Best Buy carries some, but not much. I mean, you're dealing with Amazon, and you're dealing with your own website sales and some smaller companies that AEC and some of these, AEC is not small, but some of these other guys who do sell your stuff, but you're not married to street dates like you used to be. It was crazy before. The other thing too is the returns game has changed a lot. When you're dealing with big guys, you're getting tons of returns. So you have to then, reuse the returns, get them back out there. That's all gone. Amazon doesn't do that. Those guys don't do that. And AEC really doesn't do that at all. So the game has changed a lot, but you're not selling as many. But in the past, were you selling that many because of the returns? So I'll end on that. But yes, that's the question. I could go into like one video on each one of those things, returns and this and that. That may be a good one to explain one more time, is returns. But anyway, thank you for the question, and you guys have a great weekend. I hope I answered it for you. Take care.